If we look at the research right now, depending on whose studies you look at, somewhere between 50 and 60% of Americans are actively considering a new job this year. So ask yourself, which 50 to 60% of your team can you do without? I don't know any company that could withstand 50% turnover if they want to hit their goals this year and next year.
Has this ever happened to you? You need someone to work in your business. You interview a person, you offer them the job, and both of you are really excited. But then they never show up for the first day of training, or they leave just after a few days of starting the job. And you think, wow, it's so hard to find good people these days. This is Driven to Win, the show that helps you, the entrepreneur who wants to win in all areas and isn't afraid to do the work to get there. I'm your host, Chaz Wolfe. My mission on this show is to help entrepreneurs grow and win in all areas: business, family, health, faith, and lifestyle. We have Joey Coleman on the show today. He's an expert in keeping employees happy and staying at their jobs. This is part 2 of our talk, though. In part 1, we talked about how to never lose a customer again. If you missed it, make sure to watch the previous show to learn about customer retention too. But today, we're talking about Joey's book, Never Lose an Employee Again. In this episode, Joey shares his 8 steps of employee experience. This is exactly what he teaches big companies to keep their employees motivated, hardworking, and happy. And he's here today to teach you how to do it too. So, you want to learn how to keep your team happy? Stick around. Keep watching. This episode is for you. The employee track. We've got team members. They're in an experience. They're experiencing our business. The same 8 phases apply. Give us a little rundown for the employee side.
Absolutely. Same 8 phases with one change in name, but not change in experience. Let me give them to you. First one, the assess phase, where prospective employees assessing whether or not they want to come work for us. They're checking out our job listing, the About Us page on our website. They're going on LinkedIn to see who else they know that might work at the company as well. They're reading reviews on Glassdoor. They're assessing whether or not they want to work for us in the same way that we're assessing whether or not we want to hire them as they go through the interview process and submitting applications. We then come to the second phase, the accept phase. Now, this is different. You might remember in the customer phase, we called it the admit phase. Here we call it the accept phase because we extend an offer and ideally they accept the offer. They transition from being a candidate to being an actual employee. But then don't forget they go to that third phase, the affirm phase. While we had buyer's remorse on the customer side, here we have new hires remorse. This is the scientifically proven experience of accepting a job offer and then doubting the decision you just made to accept that job offer. What are we doing to reaffirm their choice, to let them know this is going to be a great place to work? We then come to phase 4, the activate phase. This is the first official day on the job when they show up for day 1. And in this phase, we want to remember the words of country music legend Reba McEntire when she says, let's give them something to talk about. Right? Because we know that those new employees after their first day on the job are going to go home and their significant other, their partner, their spouse, their parents, their kids, whoever it is closest in their family, the first thing they're going to ask them when they walk through the day is, how was the first day? If we know for a fact that that is going to be the first question, why as employers aren't we being more strategic about queuing up the type of answer we want them to give? Huge missed opportunity that most companies fail on dramatically. We then come to the acclimate phase. This begins on day 2, the second day on the job, and lasts for weeks and months while this new employee acclimates to our way of doing business. What's their role? What are the responsibilities? What are the requirements of the job? What are the other relationships with their colleagues and coworkers that they're going to need to maintain? Too many businesses fire hose information at a new hire and then are shocked when the new hire quits 2 weeks into the job. They quit because they're overwhelmed. They quit because they're like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. I'll never learn all this stuff. We need to think more intentionally about how we onboard our people. We then come to the accomplish phase where the employee achieves the goal they had when they originally accepted the job offer. Now, pro tip here for all you business owners listening in, the goal is not a paycheck. Sometimes we think the goal is a paycheck. Yes, we've got to pay our people, we've got to pay them well, and we've got to pay them regularly. But very few people are that you want to have on your team are taking the job solely for the paycheck. They're taking the job because they want to grow, they want to learn, they want new responsibilities, they want more flexibility, they want a different vision of the world, they want to be part of something bigger than themselves. We need to track what our employees' goals are and make sure we celebrate those accomplishments along the way. We then come to the adopt phase. The employee becomes loyal to us and only us. They're not going anywhere else. They're not answering the headhunter calls. But again, these are the ones we take for granted. Your employees who have been with you the longest are often the ones you're paying least attention to. We need to change. We need to be better about that because we're also at a much bigger threat if those people leave, the institutional knowledge we lose, the clients that can leave with them, huge problems. And last but not least, the final phase, again, the advocate phase, where our employees become raving fans singing our praises far and wide. Now, I'll tell you, Chaz, I talk to businesses around the world. And lots of times when I outline these 8 phases to leaders, they say, oh, Joey, all of our employees are advocates. And I'm like, really? Let's put that to the test. How many open positions are you hiring for right now? Oh, well, we've got 3 positions we're looking to fill. Great. How many of the candidates you're interviewing are direct referrals from existing employees?
Crickets.
Well, I don't know if any of them are. Then you don't actually have advocates. You might have adopters, but the sign of an advocate is somebody who, as soon as you say, oh, we're looking for a new head of sales in Chicago, they're like, let me think of everybody I went to college with that lives in Chicago. Let me think, my cousin's cousin lives in Chicago. I'm going to call them and say, who do you know that's an awesome salesperson? Because I work at an amazing company and I want more amazing people to work here. That's an advocate. Now, not every employee is going to make it all the way to advocacy. But we certainly want all of our employees to make it to the adopt level, and then a significant percentage to also light up as advocates as well.
Yeah. Where do you see, we kind of went through a couple different of the sections on the client side, but you've worked with some big companies. I've got a list here: Zappos, Whirlpool, Hyatt Hotels, NASA. These are some incredible organizations. Where are they falling short, even at that level on the employee side?
Yeah, I would say a couple phases. Number one, it's probably comes as no surprise, that affirm phase, that new hires remorse phase. Some brand new research out of Gartner looked at 3,000 people that accepted job offers. They then went to those 3,000 people on the first day on the job and said, how was your first day? And what the research found is that 50% of the people who had accepted job offers had not shown up for the first day on the job because they had accepted job offers somewhere else. That's the marketplace today. There are 2.3 jobs open in the United States for every 1 worker that we have to fill those jobs. This is a huge demographic problem. It's not getting better anytime soon. There are fixes, but it's not going to be one thing that fixes it, and we're not going to see any change in, frankly, the next decade. So we need to recognize that the landscape has changed. Number 2, we see a lot of things fall apart in that acclimate phase, which I alluded to earlier. We try to teach that new hire everything that they need to know about the role in 2 days. And it's like, this is a mistake. More than 50% of companies spend less than 2 days onboarding new hires.
Wow.
So by the way, if you're listening in and you're like, oh, we have a week-long program or we do a month of onboarding, consider yourself lucky. Consider yourself, best in class. Only 5% of companies globally spend more than a month onboarding. Now, here's my question. If you want this employee to stay for longer than a month, shouldn't you be willing to invest more than a month getting them up to speed? To me, this feels pretty logical. And then the last one where we see things fall apart, as I mentioned earlier, is again in that adopt phase. Right now, I want you to think of the 2 or 3 employees that mean the most to you, the 2 or 3 team members that your business couldn't exist without. And then I'm going to ask you, when is the last time you told them that in a meaningful, tangible way? What I mean by that is with a handwritten note, with a filmed video, with a present or a gift that came with a card and a package and RFA, or is it one of these flyby appreciations like, Chaz, couldn't do it without you, buddy. All right, everybody, back to work tomorrow. It's like, that is a fleeting whisper in the life. We can do better.
Of course. Yeah, that actually is a great segue here because you've mentioned in your book, and this probably goes for employees as well, but basically having more joy through the process. And really I think you kind of tie it into being more real, which is kind of what you were just saying there. Like, as an employee, if I'm going to appreciate someone, like, maybe be specific, maybe be intentional about like, hey, this happened yesterday and I really appreciate you for that. But whether it's with clients or with employees, how can a business owner listen to you today go, okay, I need to be more joyful through these 8 phases? How does this work?
I think the best way to create joy for the people we interact with is to lean into personal and emotional connections. So the difference between a coworker and a colleague, so a coworker, you see them on Monday and you say, hey, Chaz, how was your weekend? A colleague, I see Chaz on Monday and I say, hey, Chaz, how was your aunt's birthday party?
Right.
See, the distinction there is I knew how Chaz was spending his weekend because I asked on Friday, and then I remembered on Monday when I saw him again to ask in a way that was personal, that acknowledged what was going on in your life, not my life. I try to do this with my team all the time. This episode's going to come out after this, so it's fair to say my director of details, which some people might call my personal assistant or my executive assistant, her title is director of details, has a son. His birthday is this week. He's getting presents delivered to the house from me and my family for his birthday. Yeah. Now, I don't say that to be, oh, look how cool and amazing Joey is. I share that to say you are only limited by the bounds of your own creativity when you think about ways you can show your employees that they matter, that you care about them. Notice the gift isn't for my director of details. It's not for her. It's for her child. But if you're a parent listening, you know that when people do nice things for your kids, you like it and you like them more. And other than immediate family members, who else is giving gifts to your kids? No one. So when suddenly it's, oh, this gift comes from mommy's boss. She would never say that. I would never say it to her. But, to be able to have that contextualization of mommy spends her day working for Mr. Joey and his family decided to send this gift to you for your birthday. Guess what? It's probably a lot easier for her to navigate work commitments and explain those to her child when they have a context for, oh, this is someone that we like. This is someone that's in our circle. This is someone that cares about us.
Yeah, that's right. It changes work to Mr. Joey.
Exactly.
And just that small transition right there. It's so good. What do you talk about? You mentioned this on the client side, but you also at the end you've mentioned it on the employee, like where they've got a goal, a specific thing that they want to accomplish. On the client side, you gave the example of the T-shirt at the dinner, and then that's like for them like winning. Like the T-shirt did what I was supposed to. I got the hot date or whatever. And on the employee side, we talked about money, but really we didn't go very far into that. So I want to tap just a little further. And so, of course, they're going to use money, but unto the things that they want. And so whatever those things are, you talk a lot about celebrating those things with them. Talk about how do we celebrate?
Well, I think there's a number of ways to celebrate. I think the way most employers think about celebrating is to give a check. And while that can be nice, the research shows that when we just give an employee the check, number one, they don't remember it long term. Number two, it doesn't have nearly the impact that a gift would have or an experience. And number three, in this day and age, the majority of employees, when given an unexpected bonus or a check, put that money to pay down debt. Now, I'm not saying that isn't a good use of your money, but there are very few people sitting around going, oh, I'm so excited to pay down my debt this week. Right? It's something that you're getting all the association with, oh, how did I get into the debt in the first place? Instead, give experiences. Instead, acknowledge their own personal growth and development. One of the things I believe every employer should do, and this takes time. So I realize the suggestion I'm about to give is going to add more hours to your schedule, but I promise you it's worth it, and the research supports that. Every 6 months, you should be meeting with every member of your team to figure out what is their goal for the next 6 months. I did this with my director of details not too long ago. And I said, so what are some of the things we want to work on? And she said, well, to be honest, Joey, I've been thinking that a lot of the work I do now has a project manager vibe to it, as well as an executive assistant vibe. And I don't have any formal training in project management. So I'd like to take a course on project management. Now, some of the folks listening are saying, oh my gosh, Joey, this is a gem. This is an employee proactively saying they want to educate themselves about things that will be direct benefit to the business. I was getting super excited when she said this. And I was like, okay, sounds great. I said, What have you found a course? Do you need me to help identify one? She's like, well, I found one, but it's a little expensive. And I braced myself and I said, okay, how committed am I to developing and growing my team? She said, it's $400. Now, what those of you listening into the podcast can't see is the shock on my face that, yeah, $400, no problem. I will pay $400 all day, every day to have you get skills that we can turn around and directly apply to the business. And then what I did is I tried to take it to the next level. I said, yes, sign up for the program today. Use the company credit card. Love this. How long is the program? She said, well, it's 3 months. I said, great. And about how many hours a week? She said, they're suggesting we do somewhere between 2 and 3 hours a week. I said, fantastic. Do me a favor. Find those 2 to 3 hours in your existing workday. She's like, wait, I was planning to do this at night. I said, no, I appreciate that. But this is for the betterment of our business. I don't want you to carve away personal time to work on this. Figure out how to plug that in. She manages my schedule. She manages her schedule. Plug that into your day-to-day life. She's like, are you sure? I said, absolutely, I'm sure. This is amazing. Now stop and think about some of these interactions, right? These are the kind of employees we want. These are the team members that we should be doing everything to keep, at least in my estimation. Hungry to learn, willing to sacrifice time and effort. Like, good, this is what we want. Fast forward. I'm thinking this is going to take 3 months. 7 weeks in, she messages me and says, by the way, next week I need to carve out a little time because I'm sitting for the test to be a project manager. She had accelerated and done it on her own.
Yeah.
When we create space for our people to grow, when we support our people in the endeavors that matter to them, they will walk through fire for us. They'll do all kinds of great things for us because we're showing that we care about them as an individual. So if you're friends, by the way, you should be friends with all of your employees on social media. There's another little mic drop for all of you. Go be friends with them on social media. Why? Some people are like, Joey, that feels creepy and invasive. No, it doesn't. Just everybody's friends with all kinds of people on social media. You extend the invitation. If they want to be friends with you, great. If they don't, that's fine. But the majority of them are going to accept your friend request. Then what you're going to be able to do is look through their social media profile and see what actually matters to them. Who's their favorite team? What did they do on vacation? What movie did they go to last week? You're going to get all this data and all this information that you can use to create personal and emotional connection with them. And they're broadcasting this information to the world. They're sharing it with anyone and everyone that wants to find them on Instagram or Facebook or X or wherever they're at. Great. Why not take advantage of that to deepen the relationship you have with them?
Yeah, I love the last little piece there. You said take advantage, and usually that phrase is used in a negative connotation. Take advantage, manipulate. I'm gonna capture this information about your family so that I can use it against you at work. I know that obviously you mean something different, but the person that's listening right now that maybe doesn't have that filter, help them understand what you mean by take advantage of. Or maybe you have an employee listening to this right now and they're like, well, wait a second. So my boss is like using this information? Like how? I don't understand.
Yeah. So
how is this good?
Yeah. So to the employee who's saying, oh, my boss is using this information, you're freely sharing this information from the world. You're on social media. You're putting it out there. So if you have information that you don't want the world to know, stop posting about it on Facebook or Instagram. Okay. Full stop right there. Secondarily, by take advantage of it, I mean, focus on the ways that you can learn more about your people.
Yeah.
Now, some of that can come from sitting down and having lunch with them. And that's great. And I love that approach. But depending on how big your team is, you might not be able to have lunch with people every week or every day. Even earlier when I said you should meet with all of your team members once every 6 months, some of the people listening in were like, we have 300 employees. I can't do that. Great. Understood. But you should be meeting with all of your direct reports and their direct reports every 6 months. And you should create in your culture them meeting with their teams every 6 months to figure this out. And why do I say every 6 months? Because people are going to leave faster than you doing it annually. Okay? They are. If we look at the research right now, depending on whose studies you look at, somewhere between 50 and 60% of Americans are actively considering a new job this year. So ask yourself, which 50 to 60% of your team can you do without? I don't know any company that could withstand 50% turnover if they want to hit their goals this year and next year. Like, I mean, these numbers are staggering. So by taking advantage, what I mean is if your employees are already sharing this information publicly, they're already broadcasting it to the world, shame on us for not listening, recording it, and then taking action on it.
Yeah, it's so good. And I think just the perspective, going back to what you had suggested in your book about just being real, it's like that information is helpful to us being able to connect. And wouldn't you want to work in a place or have a culture in your business that people like want to be here with each other? And sometimes, even in marriage, sometimes it's something you have to step into. I remember probably about a year or so ago, I started sending my wife a morning text message. Every single morning, I'm up way before she is. And so there's an alarm that goes off on my phone and I send her a text message. And when I first started doing that, number one, the actual repetitive, I don't say the same thing, but I'm affirming, I'm giving appreciation, something from the day before that felt like, oh man, I wonder if she's ever going to get like tired of the same thing, And then on top of that, I literally have a 5 a.m. reminder, because I'm already up at that time, and it's like, ding, goes off my phone. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Send the text message. And there could be some process to that where it feels like not true or not real. But in that moment, it's a reminder. Then I can go real. I can go, okay, I really do appreciate my wife. Let's think about yesterday. Take 60 seconds, find something that I'm appreciative of, and I let her know. And then I love her, and that's the first thing that she wakes up to. So it's like, for anybody that's listening, yes, it's a little bit of work, and sometimes you actually need it in your calendar or a reminder, and it feels fabricated. But in that moment, it's like, no, I can actually become real, appreciate them, or whatever the scenario is, give a gift, whatever part of the process that they're in. But
Chaz,
I
would say I'm with you 100%. I love this. And I love that you shared the little nuance that you have an alarm that goes off, because a lot of people feel guilty about having reminders to be thoughtful.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal, folks. If you're always thoughtful all the time, then yes, you can avoid setting any reminders. But I've yet to meet a human being on the planet who is thoughtful 24/7, 365. It takes work to be thoughtful, and especially for the people that matter most to us, because I'd be willing to bet, I'm not putting you on the spot here, but prior to doing this, I would imagine that there were less text messages to your wife, they were less consistent, and they were less informed on your part of, I don't want to just send the same thing I texted yesterday. What's another reason that I love her? What's another reason that I'm thankful for having her in her life? What's another idea that I have that I hope she goes forward into her day with? And when we can prime the people that we love and that we're in relationship with these little magical moments, these little touches, these little delight moments of personal and emotional connection, that's what builds long-term relationships. Now, do you have to do it every day? No. But for the people that are in your closest circle, I think we should tell them more often than we do. And for some of us, that means we need to start doing it every day.
Yeah, I think there's probably a couple people in my life where I wish they had a reminder.
Yeah, right?
And I would be okay with knowing that they had a reminder, because the result of that would have been like, wow, that'd be nice to hear from you a little bit more often.
Absolutely.
Joey, you have an incredible mind of enthusiasm throughout the entire show here. I'm sure you carry that with you everywhere. But where can the listeners find you? Of course, we'll have it in the show notes as well. But what's easy to find you online?
So the best place to find me online is on my website, joeycoleman.com. That's Joey, like a baby kangaroo or a 5-year-old, Coleman, Coleman, like the camping equipment, but no relation, joeycoleman.com. My books are called Never Lose a Customer Again and Never Lose an Employee Again. They're available wherever you get books in whatever format you like to consume books. So we've got a hardcover you can write in the margins. We've got an ebook you can read and highlight on your Kindle or your Nook. If you're using a Nook, super exciting. I'd love to meet you. And we also have an audiobook that I narrate. So if you've enjoyed the sound of my voice on this show, I will read both of the books to you if you'd like to have me do that.
I love it. And we've had actually a few of our team members in preparation for the show go through, I think one of each actually. And so just an incredible mind. Again, just great words. You've just a whole well. I could go over hours here, but I so appreciate you. Blessings to you and your family, everyone that you're touching here this year. Yeah, I can only imagine that it's going to bring blessings. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Chaz. And thanks to everybody who listened in and joined us for the conversation. I hope you had as much fun and left with as many ideas as I'm leaving with after having a chance to connect and talk with Chaz today.
Thank you for listening to Driven to Win. I hope that you were able to pull out a few nuggets to go apply into your business right away. More importantly, though, I hope that you're realizing that it takes more to be successful than just being by yourself, doing it all on your own, carrying the weight all by yourself. What I have realized, not only in my own journey from multiple businesses and multiple different industries, and now interviewing over 200 or 300 other very successful 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, is that it's tough to do it alone. And so Gathering the Kings exists to bring together successful entrepreneurs. In fact, we are putting together 1,000 kings, specifically who are grateful but not done. We're intentionally assembling kings who fight tooth and nail for their business, family, and communities. And here's what we believe: that in the pursuit of excellence in those areas, that it ignites within us the responsibility to govern power and forge a lasting legacy. So if that relates and resonates with you, and you know that you need people around you, sharp, qualified, other very successful business owners, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. I want you to take a look at what we're doing and see if it makes sense for you to be part of our pursuit to 1,000 kings. Talk soon.